Hello, everyone. Welcome to my stream. So, today we are going to be learning about Android layout. So, we're going to build a UI showing text where you'll be introduced to Android layouts such as views and view groups and how to build a basic UI. So, I welcome you here, and I hope that you will learn something interesting today. And actually, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and mute the music here so we can be able to get on with the lesson. And so, we're going to go over the this collab here is going to be create a birthday card app, which it's going to dive deeper into building the layout for the UI. It's going to be text so far, but don't worry, in future code labs we will really be diving into more advanced topics. But for now, this tutorial will be designed for beginners, and hopefully this is your first one of your first times being exposed to Android, and I want to make your you being exposed to Android as smooth as possible. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and post this code lab in the chat so people can follow along with it. And also, I usually post it in the description as well so that people will be able to follow along later as well. And yeah, let's have fun. Let's do this. 1. Introduction. In this code lab, you will build a simple Android app that displays text. You will be able to position the text on the screen by understanding more about user interface UI components in Android. Prerequisites. How to create a new app in Android Studio, how to run an app in the emulator or on your Android device. Which, if you don't know how to do those things, you can reference my past live streams, and we went over how to do both of those. What you will learn. What are user interface elements such as views and view groups? How to display text in a text view in an app? How to set attributes such as text, font, and margin on a text view? What you will what you will build an Android app that displays a birthday greeting in text format. This is what your app will look like when you're done. Awesome. So what you need is a computer with Android Studio installed. All right. And again, guys, I have Android Studio on my computer. I'm going to be following along with this lab using my Android Studio, my personal installation of Android Studio, so that you so that you guys can be able to see that. 2. Set up your Happy Birthday app. Create an empty activity project. To start, create a new Kotlin project in Android Studio using the empty activity template. Call the app Happy Birthday. Alright, so we can go ahead and do that in my Android Studio. I'm gonna go ahead and open this, and I'm gonna go ahead and do new projects so you all can see, and then we're gonna do an empty activity. So we do an empty activity there. Let me see. So actually, let's do an empty views activity, since this is the type of lesson that we're going over is views. This one is actually I believe that's a compose one, which we should be able to cover that later. But we're gonna do empty views activity, and then here we're gonna go ahead and name this how they want, the happy birthday. So, all right. And then what else do they want? So you're gonna name it a happy birthday, and then it's gonna be calm dot example dot happy birthday. So calm dot. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go ahead and reveal my Android Studio to you all in the actual OBS. Just give me one moment. Sorry if you, since you couldn't see my screen, but I'm gonna go ahead and fix that right now. So let me go ahead, go to display capture, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So, all right, great. Now we're going to go to my Android Studio. And so we have our Android Studio here. And so basically, this is where I'm creating the new project. Actually, let me go back here to show you what I was selecting. I was selecting the empty views activity and opposed to this, which is using compose. But in this tutorial, we'll be learning about views instead of compose, which we should be learning compose later. All right, so I named it Happy Birthday like they wanted, and then they want the com.sample.happy birthday. And all right, so I have that. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see. So it says, all right, if okay, so run your app. The app should look like the screen below. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and create the application, and then they said they want us to go ahead and run it. So let's go ahead and do that. So, all right, we have these two items that they wanted: the the name and the package name. All right, so down here it's loading, and then here's our tooltip, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close that. So down here it's loading and building the application, and also it's loading here too. So when you first open a project, it will not be ready right away, so you'll need a few moments for it to populate and everything. So it looks like it's done doing its thing right here. So we're gonna go ahead and run it. So here's the run icon, and so all right, so we're running the application on an emulator. So this is the Android emulator, and so also it takes a few moments to install that application to the emulator, which is emulating a Android device. So alrighty, so on each real device, it also takes a few moments to install an app. So all right, so this white screen means it built and it ran. And so this is what we're getting right now so far. All right, now let's go ahead and go back to the lesson here. And all right, great. So we ran the app and we have the hello world. And so let me go ahead and close this for now. And then it says, when you created this happy birthday app with the empty activity template, Android Studio set up resources for a basic Android application, including a hello world message in the middle of the screen. In this collab, you will learn how that message gets there, how to change its text to be more of a happy have a birthday greeting, and how to add and format additional messages. About user interfaces. The user interface of an app is what you see on the screen. text, images, buttons, and many other types of elements. It's how the app shows things to the user and how the user interacts with the app. Each of these elements is what's called a view. Almost everything you see on the screen of your app is a view. Views can be interactive, like a clickable button or an editable input field. In this Colab, you will work with a kind of view that is for displaying text and is called TextView. The views in an Android app don't just float on the screen by themselves. Views have relationships to each other. For example, an image may be next to some text, and buttons may form a row. To organize views, you put them in a container. A view group is a container that view objects can sit in and is responsible for arranging the views inside it. Their arrangement or layout can change depending on the size and aspect ratio of the screen of the Android device that the app is running on. And the layout can adapt to whether the device is in portrait or landscape mode. One kind of view group is constraint layout, which helps you arrange the views inside it in a flexible way. And about the layout editor. Create Creating the user interface by arranging views or view groups is a big part of creating an Android app. Android Studio provides a tool that helps you do this called Layout Editor. You'll use the Layout Editor to change the Hello World text to Happy Birthday, and later to style the text. I'm sorry. When the layout editor opens, it has a lot of parts. You will learn to use most of them in this code lab. Use the annotated screenshot below for help recognizing the windows in the layout editor. You will learn about each part as you make changes to your app. On the left is the project window, which you have seen before. It lists all the files that makes up your project. At the center, you can see two drawings, 4 and 5, that represent the screen layout for your app. The representation on the left, 4, is a close approximation of what your screen will look like when the app runs. It's called the design view. The representation on the right, 5, is the blueprint view, which can be used for specific operations. The palette 2 contains lists of different types of views, which you can add to your app. The component tree 3 is a different representation of the views of your screen. It lists all the views of your screen. On the right, 6 are attributes. It shows you the attributes of a view and lets you change them. Read more about the layout editor and how to configure it in the developer reference guide. And I'm going to go ahead and post the developer reference guide in the chat and also in the description so that you guys can reference it for further study later. So I'm going to go ahead and post this in the chat here. So reference the above link for more info on views and layouts. All right. So, okay. And so, as you can see from the window here, this is what it looks like in Android Studio. So, basically, let me open my Android Studio. So, when you're opening the layout, it's usually in this resources folder here, And then you can go to layout, this layout package. And then usually each each class or activity or fragment that you're using is matched up with the layout. So this is this activity underscore main. I'm going to double click it. I double clicked it, and this is matched up with the Kotlin code of this main activity. So this is the layout portion of the main activity. So when you open the main activity, this is what it will look like to you. And also you can zoom in. So remember in the Android emulator we saw hello world. So this is where this is set here. So there's a design, and then there's also a code, which is a markup language here, which we can put our label text here. So this is a text view, and then you can also do a split screen. And then when you do a split screen, that means the code will be in this pane, and the actual picture of the layout will be here. The visual of the layout will be here. So that's a quick little rundown of what they are talking about so far inside the lesson. So let us go ahead and continue. So let's go make some changes in the layout editor to make your app more like a birthday card. Change the Hello World message. In Android Studio, find the project window on the left. So, and then take note of these folders and files. The app folder has most of the files for the app that you will change. The res folder is for resources such as images or screen layouts. The layout folder is for screen layouts. The activity underscore main.xml file contains a description of your screen layout. Expand the app folder, then the res folder, and then the layout folder. So I already showed you guys just now where to find the layout file. And so double click on activity underscore main, which I've done. And this opens activity main.xml in the layout editor and shows the layout describes in the design view. Note, in these collabs, you will frequently be asked to open a file like the previous steps. As a shorthand, this may be abbreviated as open activity underscore main.xml. So it's basically showing you that when they want you to open something, they'll have a shorthand that has these carets here that says like res, caret, layout, instead of listing each step separately. All right, so 5. Look at the list of views in the component tree. Notice that there is a constraint layout and a text view underneath. These represent the UI of your app. The text view is indented because it is inside the constraint layout. As you add more views to the constraint layout, they will be added to this list. Notice that the text view has hello world next to it, which is the text you see when you run the app. So let's see. So let's go back to the Android Studio, and so they are talking about the components tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the design view. And so here they said they have, on the top level is the constraint layout, and within this constraint layout is the text view with the hello world text there. That was basically what they were saying. All right, so now in the component tree, click the text view. Find attributes on the right. Find the declared attributes section. Notice that the attributes in the declared attributes section contains hello world. Alright, so when we go to our Android Studio and then we are clicked on the text, hello world text, here on this pane is the attributes section, and you can also edit different attributes here, such as also hello world, which you see also matches up with here and also matches up with there. So this is also where you can edit the text if you want to do it via the attributes pane. So, all right, let's go back to our lesson. And then it says, click the text attribute where the hello world text is, change it to say happy birthday. Then press the enter key. So they said they want us to go ahead and change the text there to happy birthday. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our Android Studio view and go ahead and paste that there. So it's happy birthday. So instead of hello world, we do happy birthday, and then they said to hit enter. So once I hit enter, it immediately made the changes in our visual file here and our component tree there. All right, what's next? So then press enter, the enter key. If you see a warning about a hard-coded string, don't worry about it for now. You will learn how to get rid of that warning in the next code lab. Notice that the text has changed in the design view. This is cool. You can see your changes right away. Run your app, and now it says happy birthday. Nice work. You made your first changes to an Android app. So, all right. So when we go back here, it's saying we can go ahead and run the app. So right now the app is running, and we should be able to see the changes that happened that we made in our constraint layout over here. All right. So happy birthday. As you can remember, it said hello world earlier, but we changed it to happy birthday. So if this is your first time editing a Android app, congratulations to you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and we're gonna hit next. And so, all right, so it says add text views to the layout. The birthday card you are building looks different than what you have in your app now. Instead of the small text in the center, you need two larger messages, one in the upper left and one in the lower right corner. In this task, you'll delete the existing text view and add two new text views and learn how to position them within the constraint layout. So delete the current text view in the layout editor. Click click to the cl- click to select the text view at the center of the layout. So right now we're going to click this in our layout, and we're going to go ahead and press the delete, and then Android Studio deletes the text file, and your app shows just a constraint layout in the layout editor and the component tree. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to our Android Studio here, and then what it's said to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the happy birthday text view here, and we're going to hit the delete button. And all right, our text is completely gone, and our app says nothing right now. So let's go see what they want us to do next. It says tip. if you want to zoom in on your layout, you can use the controls at the bottom right of the layout editor to adjust the size. Click on the bottommost icon to return to a zoom level where the whole layout fits the screen. So what they're talking about is when we go to our Android Studio, we will see that you can adjust the zoom in and zoom out. So hitting that plus and the minus sign. And also you can use this hand to grab and drag where you want to go on the screen, which is similar to certain other programs. And then what it was also saying is if you're zoomed in too far, you can hit this to zoom back out to where both of these are being displayed. So there's like a green and there's a white. There's not two screens here. This is just a different type of view of the same view. So, all right. All right. And so it says add a text view. In this step, you'll add a text view in the upper left of your app to hold the birthday greeting. The palette in the upper left of the layout editor contains lists of different types of views organized by category which you add to your app. Find text view Find text view. It appears both in the comment category and the text category. So, and then it says, drag a text view from the pa- palette palette to the upper left of the design surface in the layout editor. Drop it. You don't need to be exact. Just drop it near the left corner. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and go to our Android Studio again. And then, so here is the pane of the different components that we can drag over. They want us to drag over a brand new text view. So it's highlighted here, the text view, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this over to our view here, which, let me see, let me unclick that, then drag this over here. Yeah, so make sure you're not locked into the hand here, or the drag will not work. But all right, so we have our text view in the top left here, like they were saying. And so from the palette to the upper left corner, okay. And then notice there's a text view added, and notice a red exclamation mark in the component tree. So there should be a red exclamation mark in the component tree where we dragged the text view. So boom, yeah, we have that there. So we see what they're talking about there. So hover your pointer over the exclamation mark, and you'll see a warning message that the view is not constrained and will jump to a different position when you run the app. You'll fix that in the next step. So, yeah, so what they're saying is basically when you are hovering your mouse over here, it will say missing constraints and constraint layout. Click the badge for details. So basically it's saying that we need to set our constraints really. So we're gonna do that in just a second actually. So position the text view. For the birthday card, the text view needs to be near the upper left corner with some space around it. To fix the warning, you'll add some constraints to the text view, which tell your app how to position it. Constraints are directions and limitations for where a view can be in a layout. The constraints you add on the top and left will have margins. A margin specifies how far a view is from an edge of its container. In In attributes on the right, find the constraint widget in the layout section. The square represents your view. 2. Click the plus at the top of the square. This is for the constraint between the top of your text view and the top edge of the constraint layout. A field with a number appears for setting the top margin. The margin is the distance from text view to the edge of the container. The constraint layout, the number you see will be different depending on where you dropped the text view. When you set the top margin, Android Studio automatically also adds a constraint from the top of the left view to the top of the constraint view. So right here, we're going to go ahead and change the top margin to 16. So let me go ahead and do that here. So we go back to our Android Studio, and it says when we have our text view highlighted, we hit this plus right here, and that's going to be the margin between this. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. So it's going to be the margin between our text view, which is here, and the upper corner there. And they said, I believe they said to set that to 16. So we're going to go ahead and set that to 16, and we're going to press enter, and then our changes are made. There's a 16 margin right there. So we added it over here because this plus, we hit that plus, and represents the top margin. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our lesson, and it says change the top margin to 16. And note, the unit for margins and other distances in the UI is density independent pixels, DP. So remember that, guys. That's going to be important. Might even be in interview questions. Density independent pixels, DP. It's like centimeters or inches, but for distances on a screen. Android translates the value to the appropriate number of real pixels for each device. As a baseline, 1 dp is about 1/160th of an inch, but may be bigger or smaller for some devices. Do the same for the left margin. Alright, so we're going to also set the text to 16 for the left margin as well. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our Android Studio over here. Then we're going to hit this plus, and then we're going to change that to 16 and press enter. So we've entered 16 for our left margin as well. Okay, and it says set the text to wish your friend a happy birthday for example, happy birthday Sam, and press enter. So yeah, we can go ahead and take this text or the name of your friend, and then we can go back to our layout here. Okay, so our layout is here. We're going to go ahead and set our text. Right now, as you can see, the text is text view, but we want to change this text to something else. So we're going to go ahead and say happy birthday Sam, and then we're going to press enter. Then boom, happy birthday Sam appears in our editor here. So we accomplished that. So let's go back, and it says 7. Notice that the design view updates to show what your app will look like. All right, so we have done that. And then it says add and position another text view. Your birthday card needs a second line of text near the bottom right corner, which you'll add in this step in the same way as the previous task. What do you think the margins of the text view should be? 1. Drag a new text view from the palette and drop it near the bottom right of the app view in the layout editor. So set a right margin of 16, set a bottom margin of 16. So let's go ahead and do that. So it wants us to go back to our Android Studio, and it wants us to go ahead and drop a second text view in the bottom right corner here. And then it wants us to set the bottom right to 16. Enter. And the bottom to 16. Enter. Alright, so as you can see, we have also done that here. Alright, and then what's next? In attributes, set the text attribute to sign your card, for example, from Emma. So basically we're going to set our text as well, just like we did in the other one. And you can say from, whoever you want. But let's go back to the view here. And we're going to go ahead and change the text to from Emma. All right, so we're going to put that there, and we're going to hit enter. Then boom, it updates down there to from Emma. And so now, let's see. So what we are doing here is we have changed both of the texts, just like it asked us to the top one, Happy Birthday Sam from Emma. So that's our birthday card so far, using text views in a constraint layout. And then it says, run your app. You should see your birthday wish in the upper left and your signature in the lower right. And then it says, congratulations, you added and positioned some UI elements in your app. So let's go ahead and go back to our app here, which is going to be the Android Studio. We're going to go ahead and run it by hitting this green triangle there. And so we're going to see the changes that we just made to our app. And so it'll just take a little bit to play for us. So yeah, as it wanted us, we have the Happy Birthday Sam in the top left and the from Emma in the bottom right. So that's what we correctly have in the actual app as we run it, and it's displaying correctly because we set the correct constraints and our constraint layout. If you do not properly set the constraints, really the text can pop up anywhere in your app, and you'll have unintended behavior of where the text is supposed to display if you set the constraints incorrectly. All right, next, add style to the text. You added text to your user interface, but it doesn't look like the final app yet. In this task, you'll learn how to change the size, text color, and other attributes that affect the appearance of the text view. You can also experiment with different fonts. 1. Click on the text view on the component tree and the common attributes section of the attributes window. You may need to scroll down to find it. Notice the various attributes including font family, text size, and text color. Look for text appearance. If text appearance is not expanded, click on the triangle. In the text size, set the text size to 36 SP. So 36 SP. All right. So it wants us to go ahead and set the text size to 36 SP. So let's go ahead and go back to our Android Studio. and it was talking about this down here, our text view down there. And then we're going to look for the size. So in this pane right here, it's multiple attributes. So we need to scroll down. This widget is also a part of the attributes as well. Let's see. So we're going to find the so here actually so here if you don't immediately see the text size, you can also do a search here and then type in text size. All right, so it brought up the correct attribute that we needed. And so we're going to go ahead and change this from 14 SP to what they wanted. So they wanted 36 SP. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to the 36 SP that they want. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, the 36 SP. All right, enter. Boom. It successfully changed, and you see how the text has become much larger. All right, great. And if you made it this far, you're doing a good job so far. And we're almost finished. And so it says, note, just like dp is a unit of measure for distances on the screen, SP is a unit of measure for the font size. UI elements in Android apps use two different units of measurement: density, independent pixels, which you used earlier for the layout, and scalable pixels, SP, which is used when setting the size of text. By default, SP is the same size as DP, but it resizes based on the user's preferred text size. So it's a different unit called SP whenever you are setting text. Remember that, guys. So there's SP for text and DP for your other elements that are not text. So SP for text, DP for everything else when you're setting sizes. So notice the change in the layout editor. All right. So yeah, this is the one that they set to the 36. It looks like. So actually, let me go ahead and do that really quick down there to set that to the 36 like they wanted it. So go here. Then I'm gonna go over here. Gonna go over here. Gonna go set that to 36 SP. Enter. All right. So that is set to our 36 DP, the Happy Birthday Sam. And let me see here. So we have the Happy Birthday Sam, and then it says, notice the change in the layout editor. All right. So yes, we notice. Change the font family to casual. Try some different fonts to see what they look like. There are There are even more choices for fonts at the bottom of the list under more fonts. When you're done trying different fonts, set the font family to sans serif light. So, alright, so basically, it sounds like it wants us to play around with some of the fonts here. So, when we go back to our Android Studio, we go back to our text view. Let's go ahead and click off of that and go to our text view, and then see here we have this for our search. I'm going to delete that. And then it wants us to do the font family. The font family by default is sans serif. And it said you can change it to casual, and then happy birthday sound. That's pretty cool. So I changed it to casual there. What if I change it to monospace there? What if I change it to cursive there? Wow, that actually looks pretty good for a birthday card, actually, the cursive option. But anyway, let's go back and see exactly what it wants. So change the font family to casual. Try some different fonts. There are even more choices of fonts at the bottom of the list under more fonts. At the bottom of the list under more fonts. Let me see real quick. They said there's more font options. More font options. Okay, so at the font family, you can go to the very scroll to the very bottom of the fonts, and there's a thing called more fonts here. So there's going to be a ton of fonts, extra fonts that you can choose from down here. So that's pretty amazing if you feel limited in your font choices. You can unlock a lot more fonts just by going to more fonts under the font family, which is a good thing to know here. Like, especially if, your employer or your client tells you a certain font that they want and you only see like five, and then you get worried, and then you can go ahead and hit more fonts, and it may very well be there for you, which is awesome. All right, so I just chose like the butterfly kids just to be experimental here. So all right, so it says when you're done trying different fonts, set this font family to sans serif light. Sans serif light. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the sans serif light, like they said, which is there. All right, so that's the sans serif light. All right, and now 10. Click on the text color attribute edit box and start typing black. Notice that as you type, Android Studio shows a list of colors that contain the text you've typed so far. So, all right. So when we go to this, it will bring up these different colors. And then you select Android color black from the list of colors and press enter. So let's go ahead and do that. So under the text color inside our Android Studio, we're going to go back here. And then again, we have a search term typed in there. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. And then we're going to type in text. We're going to type in text color. Text color. All right. So, that didn't that didn't come up. Let me see. Text. Or wait. So what? What does that say? Let's see. So okay. Text color. All right. That. Let me go ahead and look for that really quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that right here, and then so we're looking for the. There's so many attributes here to get used to. So we are looking for the text color attribute. So text text alignment. Let me see. Oh, the text color background tint. Sometimes they do updates where sometimes it might be under a different attribute than text color, which, let me see, text alignment, text direction. So let me see over here. So it says, so click on the text color attribute edit box and start typing black. So let me look for, what if we do, for some reason, I'm not seeing the exact text color on this version, but let me see. For the, let me see here. We have that and that, and then foreground tint. And then we have, all right. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Don't forget to actually click on the actual view, text view, in order to see its attributes. I wasn't clicked on it, so that's why I didn't exactly see what I was looking for here. Oops, I just deleted the ID. Let me undo that. And then let me go ahead and search for the text color inside the search. So, all right, I found that here, the text color inside the search. And so it said we can start typing in black. So, all right, I started typing in black, and I'm going to go ahead and select black here for the text color. And it looks like the font family reverted, so I'm going to go ahead and change the font family to the light. So font family, I'm going to go ahead and change to sans serif light, and then hit enter. All right. All right. So we have the font family sans serif light, and then we have the text color. The text color is going to be black. So, all right, we have successfully done that. All right, and let's go back to the lesson. And it's good that you see these things that you can run into live here, so that you won't run into them yourself, and that you can see, like, if there's an issue and how to solve it. So yeah, with that, you just gotta make sure you're clicked on your actual text view, and then you should be able to edit the font and the font text and font family and all those things. So, all right, so we just selected the black, and then we hit enter. And in the text view with your signature, change the text size, text color, and font family to match. So, and then run your app. So basically, they want the signature to match what we have in the upper one. So let's go ahead and do that like they want us to do. All right. So, boom, we go down here, and we're going to go ahead and change the text color to black. And we're going to go ahead and search for the font family. And we're going to set it to sans serif light. And also, we already changed the text size to 36. So, like, if you were looking for the text size, make sure to click on it. Click on the text view, and then go to text size, and we set it to 36 SP. And remember, SP is for text. DP is for width and height for other types of views that are not text. So remember that. It's an important Android fact. Congratulations, you've taken the first steps to creating a birthday card app. So it wants us to go ahead and run our result. So I'm going to go ahead and run it here. So I'm going to run our app to show our finished product here. All right. So yeah, it's updating here. So boom. Happy birthday, Sam, with our nice and beautiful larger text. All right. So we have that. Then I'm going to go ahead and quit that. And so congratulations, you've taken the first steps to creating a birthday card app. Good job, guys. Good job. So here is going over the solution. And so I'm going to leave this as an exercise for you all to do to if you want to download the source code. This is going to be dealing with GitHub. And so for today, I'm going to go ahead and leave this as an exercise for you all. I'm going to go ahead and post this link of the source URL into the chat and the description so that you can reference it as well. In case you messed up and you need the code, you'll be able to download it from this source. So I'm going to go ahead and post that in our chat here. This is the 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 solution code to our lab here. All right, so that's going to be the solution to our code to our app, and it tells you how you can download it from the GitHub and also open it in Android Studio, which I'll leave for you guys as an exercise. And in summary, the layout editor helps you create the UI for your Android app. Almost everything you see on the screen of your app is a view. A text view is a UI element for displaying text in your app. A constraint layout is a container for other UI elements. Views need to be constrained horizontally and vertically within a constraint layout. One way to position a view is with a margin. A margin says how far a view is from the edge of the container it's in. You can set attributes on a text view like the font, text, size, and color. All right. And all right, guys. And so if you want, you can follow these links here to learn more. And you can also learn more about DP versus SP, more about views, text views, constraint layout, vocabulary for Android basics and Kotlin, which I encourage you to check this out so that you can expand your knowledge on Android and Kotlin so that whenever you're tested in the future, you can come up with the answer off the top of your head. Well, anyway, that's going to conclude our lesson, and I thank you guys so much for participating. If you made it this far, please subscribe, please comment if you have any questions about this lesson, and I'll see you next time. Stay coding, everyone. Have a wonderful day.